Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls because I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like him. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.
You're listening to another Big Bug Breakdown from the Element Podcast. What's happening, all my woods people? It is getting to be the best time of year, and the weather feels like it, and the deer seem like it, and I think my neck's starting to swell a little bit, Casey.
I believe it. Your neck is kind of big, so.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, you're welcome.
My high school coach used to make fun of pencil necks all the time, so we did a lot of neck machine work.
Well, you know, it's a good way to get concussed is to have a pencil neck, because the more your head whips around, the more concussions you can have.
Yeah, and broken necks.
It is like, there's some fall colors popping around out here. Like right now we're sitting on a tailgate and there are red leaves on the sassafras trees. If you get out there in the tree, in the overgrown field out there, like all the blue stem is starting to like bloom. Yeah. And well, it's not really blooming, but it's like the filaments of the seeds are really showing. It's really cool.
And it's probably starting to brown up a little bit, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the elm trees are turning yellow. Everything's just starting to get color, man, which is, I'm sure we're talking to people right now that are literally like, where are the leaves? You know, I know you guys in Minnesota probably don't have many leaves right now. So there's that. But we're sitting out here on your property right now doing this podcast, which it is like, does it get better as far as weather goes?
No, this is the best day.
It just
right
feels
here.
So good.
It's like 65 and sunny with a slight breeze out of the south, which is surprising.
Yeah, and you hunted this morning.
I did, and I saw a bunch of deer activity. Yeah, I hunted, like I was setting up my stand, and there was a doe like 30 yards away. I could see her barely. And she didn't care that I was there at all, which is really cool.
That's the plus of hunting around houses and stuff.
That's right, man. I got here a touch late, but oh well. If you know me, you know that's probably just the way it goes. But I saw deer the whole time. I mean, there was like a 5 or 10 minute break where there wasn't deer in the field, which is crazy. And this, my property is a old, grown-up watermelon patch. It's about 7 or 8 acres of what you would call CRP, but it's not actually in the program. Like just grown up, nasty, different, like a lot of variants and types of vegetation too. So like you've got these big bushy spots and you got some lower grass and like the deer are just all up in it, dude. It was awesome.
It's cool, man.
Yeah, and so
are the foxes.
Yeah, you and I were riding the four-wheeler over here like buddies the other day. And
that's a good way to put it.
A gray fox jumped like 10 yards in front of us and just ran down the little trail. So that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
That's not a critter we see a lot here. You go further to the southwest of us in like the hill country, there's a bunch of them, but I kind of like them, man. I'm definitely, he is on the save list whenever people come over and do stuff. It's like, don't shoot the fox.
Yeah. Well, we had a stark contrast to the hunt this morning a couple of days ago where we hunted down in the woods, and we were hunting over a little bit of corn, and we didn't see anything. Well, okay, technically we saw you saw something. The deer, it winded us or something. We had a weird thermal happening down in there, and I never saw the deer. So in other words, they didn't come in very close. And that was it. That was all the action we had was a brief second. And so anyway, we moved we moved kind of the stand location a little bit.
Yeah.
And you moved your camera and everything.
Well, I came back the next morning and hunted, and I saw a doe up by the field edge when I was walking out. And I was like, okay, if they're spending time up on the field in the morning, I'm not going to keep pushing in back here to the back, because that's kind of an early season kind of tactic, like before they kind of start thinking it's fall, push into the timber because that's where they're going to stay all day. Well, they're not doing that now. So I moved the corn pile that I'm sitting my camera over up to the front of the property, and came here with my wife to do all that. I moved the camera with you. Came with her with the corn to put the SD card in the camera because I forgot that originally. Fun times. Went to putting out the corn, and it's that Exodus Lift 2, and it's got a really good LCD screen on it to where, like, you can see yourself as you're putting out this corn, and you can tell exactly when you are and aren't in the frame, so it's really great for getting deer survey pictures,
So you're able to not put corn outside the frame.
That's right.
If you didn't want to do that,
right? I can do that either way, but it's way easier with that screen.
Oh, for sure.
It's just you look up there and you're just pouring it out, and a lot of times you're like moving the camera or whatever, kind of.
But the good thing is you have like a perpendicular plane that you can see that you won't get outside. In other words, like, for instance, you may have a doe family group or two like come in at the same time, and that can create some social stress. So you want to spread the corn out as much as possible, right? But if you get too wide on it, then you're going to have deer that might be outside the frame, and then next thing you know, you got a buck that comes in and noses a doe around. He never even makes it onto the camera,
Or a deer who's too close to the camera, and then you can't see their heads when they're down eating. I've done that more than once. Put the corn too close to the camera, and then like you see shoulders, and you're like, oh, that looks like a buck, but you never get to see his head, and he just moves out of the frame, and he's gone. Yeah. So it's pretty nice for that. But one thing you have to remember is to switch the camera from setup to on, which I did not do. Luckily, this is on my property where I'm going and checking them. I check it every 3 or 4 days because these deer are used to me being around and stuff. They're used to people. But
on public, that wouldn't have been fun.
No,
but that's why. I mean, we hang a lot of cameras on public together, so we kind of go through our checklist together. We're pretty. We forget things. Don't get me wrong at all. But a lot of times when we jump out of the car, we're like, okay, cards, camera, batteries, camera battery, microphone, whatever we're taking. We list all these things off and make sure one of us has something of all of those things. So
you weren't there to help me do that, and my wife was. Which it's cool that she wanted to ride around and do that with me.
Just not a pro deer hunter.
No, it's not her thing. She enjoys it. I enjoy it. But all the while, we're discussing the merits of why I'm peeing in front of the camera. She doesn't understand it. So I'm explaining all this, like what a scrape is and what's going on here and why we're doing that. And in all that, I completely lapsed on the whole turning the camera on. So it's down there soaking now with a fresh SD card and batteries.
That's good. Well, you probably didn't miss a whole lot. I bet you had a couple buck pictures maybe.
Probably, but it's not like... It's not like I forgot to turn it on November 4th and we were gone for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Like, that would be way, way worse.
No doubt. So, and we're going to head pretty soon to Iowa, which is exciting. I've got a lot to do today. I'm heading actually up to grocery shop, and so I stopped by to hit this podcast real quick. But I guess for sake of me getting groceries done and everything else, let's get our guest for today on the phone. That's Jake Major from Cobra Archery, and he has shot a deer, which I thought was super rare. He kind of acts like it's no big deal, but maybe it's just him,
Well, I think he always just shoots whatever. So, he's like, yeah, whatever. He's just that kind of guy, man. He's just probably one of the cooler dudes that we've met in the past year.
Well, he's a fan favorite. We had so many people after his first podcast on the archery series that we did with him that were like, man, that dude was cool, or whatever. So,
I got a sneaky feeling that he might make another Big Buck Breakdown appearance this year. just a feeling. But this one's really cool because it's really unique.
That's right. Well, let's get him on the phone.
All right, guys, on the phone right now, we have got Jake Major with Cobra Archery. Jake, you have done the unthinkable, sir. You have killed a big buck in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes. I you get lucky once in a while. You get something.
Some guys get lucky all the time.
I think you're one of those.
Yeah, it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, up to this point, we went out the first day. Me and the boys and Melissa went out first day, jumped in the bunker. We saw 16 doe and 2 buck, and 1 buck was a good one. And I'd say, it's a fair amount of deer for an hour and 20 minutes of sitting in the bunker. And they were rolling in and but it didn't go so well because we're going to try and shoot a doe. But caramel popcorn and Lucky Charms, they can smell them pretty good.
Ooh, I love
them. I'm gonna have to stop eating them then.
Elias is busy digging out all the marshmallows out of Lucky Charms and giving me the rest. So what are you going to do?
Here's just some oats.
Yeah, right, exactly. But we saw some good ones that night, and then we had high hopes of shooting a good one the next a doe the next time out. But went out the following evening, crickets. I went out by myself the following evening, the evening after that, in another spot, crickets. The next evening was crickets with the boys. I went out the next morning, and it was crickets. Four sits in a row, didn't see a deer.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, what is going on here? And I thought I'd see some decent deer because we just got all the beans and all the corn out of the fields. Deer get pushed into the hollow. I thought for sure I'd see a parade at the one spot where we've just been seeing a tremendous amount of deer, but nothing. So I thought, what, I'm just going to go out for the last hour. Friday evening. It was last Friday evening, the 11th. So I thought, well, I'm going to jump out there. I got up in the stand. I was walking in to the food plot, and I saw the food plot a week before. It looked great. Got to it, and it was nothing but a dirt patch. I went, should I even hunt this thing? Because the deer just come in and just smoked it.
Man.
It just destroyed it. I'm like, The only thing that was basically standing was the radishes and the turnips we planted, just as cover. So you know what? They've been here all week pounding it. Maybe we'll get some to come in and finish it off, So I got up in. It's 5:45. Basically had an hour and 15 minutes to hunt. I was there 5 minutes, and I spotted some doe coming out of the field. I took her and her youngins to come over. Took them a good 35 minutes to get over to the food plot. I got it circled and encased in standing corn. So when they get in it, they feel nice and secure. So there's not an ear on any one of the stalks, but because they just strip them clean. But it makes them feel secure when they're in the food plot. So they'll get in there early and stay there all day or do whatever. So that helps them stay there. And the food plot runs east to west in a rectangular shape. So, and I'm on the south side of it. And they're in the food plot. And then I saw them looking to my southeast, looking like, they're not running. So there's no coyotes. So they go back to eating. And well, there's some deer coming. Look down, a little dinkler standing in the edge of the field in the corn, the stalks there. And then I saw mother. She come out. Well, they're off limits. I didn't want to shoot a mama with babies. I just didn't want to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't into it. I'm getting older, I guess. Back when I was a punk kid, I'd probably shot the whole field clean.
I forgot you were a punk kid. I forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me.
I'd empty my quiver, I bet. So, but anyway, and just when I saw those two, I saw moving. I saw antlers. Oh man, he's a good one. So I pivoted his way. He was to my east, and he didn't come out into the standing corn yet. That would then go into the food plot. There's a drive lane right underneath my tree stand because I'm right at the edge of the woods. And he turned, and there's a blow down that I left lay there from May, just so they don't walk underneath my stand, because I got in a bad spot a couple of times because they were directly under, and then they come in. You know how it goes. You come in a certain way, and they go out a certain way, and they're directly underneath you. You don't get a shot at them. So I left that blow down there, and he's facing directly west, directly towards me, thinking, man, I hope he doesn't smell me. He was directly downwind of me. And you know what he did? He hunched up, and he just wet his torso glands. He stood there and peed down his torso glands like, what? It's the 11th of October. What are you doing, dude? You are way early. So he did that. So at that time, I grabbed my bow, and I kind of thought, from experience, he was going to, if he committed to going into the food plot, he would do it in one fell swoop. He'd go through the standing corn and trickle into the field because the doe are already in the field. And they kind of did the safety check already, so he doesn't have to come to the edge. Sometimes they'll come to the edge and stand there for a little bit and kind of survey and then walk out. I figured he would just trickle out because there was already doe in the field and nothing was spooked or running off. And as he went to commit, to the corn, I drew and come down and I was at full anchor till he hit the other side of the corn, and he trickled out like 2 or 3 yards, just like I thought in my mind he would do, as it never works that way, but it did this time. You know how it goes. Mm-hmm. He stopped and put his head down and started feeding, and I drew on him. I was already at full draw, and I raised my pins up, and I'm like, no, take your time, raise them a little higher. You know how that is. You just want to get it on him and blast them, you know. So I got there, and I hesitated just for a little bit, so I settled and then let the arrow fly, and I popped him. It was only 22 yards. You know,
perfect.
Yeah. So, just, nice and close. But one thing I did do, and I didn't like, I pulled the trigger quickly. I didn't punch it, and I didn't slap at it. I just pulled it quicker than normal. Normally I ease into it in one continuous motion when I hit the trigger, just one continuous motion. But this time I went fast to the trigger. Didn't care for that, but I hit him good and solid, hit him good and clean. I was a touch back, maybe like 2 inches off where I wanted to be, and maybe like 3 inches high. I still double lunged him, and because when you shoot him, I don't want to just hit him and kill him. I want to pound him. You know what I mean? I want you when that arrow goes in him, you're like, oh yeah, I just murdered you. You're done. And I saw the arrow hit him, and he took it like a man. He did. He hunched up and blasted out through the field and down around the corner, and his tail wasn't up. He didn't have any extended strides. It was like a really fast shuffle, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I knew I hit him solid just by I saw the arrow go in him, and I saw the exit wound as he was running off. And I saw my arrow laying down there in the dirt, and I waited for a couple minutes, and then thought I'd get down, but then all the does standing around acting like they want to come back in the field, back in the food plot. I'm like, wait a minute here, I never did a double stack. So, you know what I mean? So I'm like, well, I'm going to knock another arrow, see what happens. So, I knocked an arrow, and I stood there for about 15 or 20 minutes, and they wanted to come in, but they were just kind of a little bit uneasy. I thought, you know what, if I shoot at you, you're going to be at 10 yards anyway. So, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to ruin a hunt with having a bad experience with a doe when I shouldn't have done it. Yeah. So I put everything away and got down, and then they left the field and went over and found my arrow. I was covered in blood, and then I knew of the entrance wound. It wasn't going to be a lot of blood because it wasn't a low exit. It was like mid-body exit. And so I just walked to the corner of the field where I saw him dip in. I found blood there, and I just I knew where it was at. It's our property, so I knew where it was at. So I just walked back to the house, got Melissa, got the boys, and we loaded up the mule, the Kawasaki mule, and drove out there and got the flashlights out and went after him. He went about till he hit the corner of the field was probably 100, 110. And he went in the woods a little bit and then back up over the ridge where I was at almost, and about another 110. So he went 2.25 with a double lung.
Wow.
Yeah, he went pretty far, and it was funny because we were the boys are like little lasers. They got eyes like lasers. They can see a spot of blood from a mile away. They're like bloodhounds, and we're going through it, and it's all exciting. And he went into a really thick patch. We had timbered, and then the standing pines. We had a big windstorm last winter and blew a tremendous amount of pine trees down. So it was just a twisted wreckage of briars he went into. And I couldn't see all that well. And I'm moving along. The boys are with me. I'm like, oh, he's close, guys. I can smell him. I can smell him. So I went about another 10 yards. I'm like, where'd the blood stop? I'm like, oh, it's right here at my ankles. He was to my left. I couldn't even see how thick it was. I'm like, oh, dude, you're a pretty good one. So I knew he was decent, but I didn't know he was that good. So he was a good 9 point. The boys were happy. I was happy. We were jumping up and down. And the boys said, Dad, this isn't a small one like you normally shoot. I know. It's pretty good for a Pennsylvania deer. So I was pretty happy with him. So we got him back, hung him up, and skinned him out. But it was a good it was a good experience. I was really happy. It was a nice tune-up buck for out west. How the big football teams always like to beat up on someone before they go out and play a serious player. So I was got a nice tune-up buck for Pennsylvania. So it was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
That's awesome, dude. That really is cool. And something that's interesting is like you didn't talk at all about trail cameras or anything, and it sounds like you just kind of go out there and fun hunt and shoot whatever makes you happy. Did you know anything about this deer?
I do. I may have him on camera way down the hollow, but this food plot here, I ran one camera all year. That was it. It's all I put out. And, I've been hunting the property my entire life,
Yeah.
right? So you know where to be, when to be, you know. And with the food plot and the damage they were doing to the food plot, someone's going to show up. I didn't know it was going to be a nice buck like that. He was 3.5, and I'm like, wow, man, dude, I was expecting to shoot a little dinkler, 1.5 old, busted up 5 point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but certain spots. There's a spot up on top of our mountain. Just be there. You know, from the 1st to the 10th of November, you're going to probably see 2-3 buck a day.
Yeah.
You know, just you know how it goes.
Yeah.
So
how rare is this deer in Pennsylvania? Like, I mean, kind of explain that.
I gotta be honest with you. They're really killing some serious whitetail in PA now.
Okay.
They really are. The total hunters in PA has decreased, and then you have a 3 points on one side, and then areas around Pittsburgh, the counties around Pittsburgh are 4 on one side, and they're killing some serious. Well, I have one on camera that's probably 138, 140.
Wow.
You know, and they disappear on you. You know how that goes. So you wait for him for rut, and he'll show back up when he's stupid. But for now, he's locking down. His hormones are changing. He's changing his ways a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
So
so it was good. And one more thing of note, I got to shoot him with a new 2020 model, or one of our new ones coming out with our Maverick. I got to shoot him with that. So
fancy.
First animal under the belt for the Maverick. Thing's shooting lights out, so I'm really happy with it.
Oh, it does work. That's good. We were worried.
Yeah, it does. Yes, occasionally it does work. Yes,
that's good.
Yep.
So when
I was practicing the yard, and the last 16, 17 shots I made with it, 10 rings. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I was just tune up shots in the yard once a day, every other day, something like that. So I'm really just absolutely hammered.
Hey, when you're good, man. It's just how it is.
Yeah, well, let's not get that far.
Whenever you're heading to the stand, and you're visualizing that you're one of those big football teams that's about to, beat up on somebody, are you a Nittany Lion, or are you Orange?
I'm in the heart of Penn State territory. I mean, the college I can be at the college stadium in like an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's right up the road. I'd have to say Nittany Lion. Yeah, I'm going to go beat up the little sisters of the poor.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. Well, you talked about going out west. What's your next big hunt you're going on?
Well, we're leaving on the 1st of November. Hanging tree stands all day on the 2nd, and going to be starting our hunt on the 3rd. Northeast Missouri, we got some really good whitetail to hunt this year. So the timing should be good. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's going to be me and the 3 other gents going to go out there and see if we can't put some in the dirt. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's awesome, brother. Well, great luck with that, and great buck there in Pennsylvania, man. I had hoped that you would send me a picture of a deer, but I did not imagine it would be a good Pennsylvania buck like that, man. So
how about that?
Congrats on that, brother, and good luck the rest of the season, dude.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And same to you. Keep me posted. I want to see how you're doing.
All right, we will, dude. See ya.
Yep. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
So right now, I'm not really sure where we are at in our timelines of real life and podcasting life. It's like 2 different lives. One of the stories I told in the beginning about us hunting and not seeing hardly anything at all, we were actually heading out when we talked to Jake to go have that hunt. So this is kind of like you were saying, like an Inception thing. This is a bit weird.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, but Jake wasn't good luck. Although it's not over for him to be good luck. I feel like it can be.
100%.
So we're headed to Iowa in the next couple of days, and that's where that luck's going to really play itself out. Yeah. So, but either way, there's nothing like the hot fest of Jake Major to get you ready to go hunting. That dude is a bottle rocket waiting to go off,
Dude,
man.
He is, man. He's on a different level. Level for sure. And speaking of Iowa, man, we're going to be doing some story stuff on the Instagram story. That's where our just kind of day-to-day life is going to happen probably. Anything we come across, kind of almost like a live hunt for all you forum guys out there. And we'll post some stuff here and there on social, but a lot of it will just be through the story for the next couple weeks or whatever, next several weeks, I bet.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty much, as soon as we go to Iowa, it's hardly any days off from hunting, which is an exciting thing.
That's an exciting thing.
I'm definitely blessed to be able to say to make that statement, because I know there's a lot of guys out there that
I'll have a fishing trip in there in amongst all those hunting trips while you're on a hunt. So
it's funny how you've renamed that trip.
That's what you call denial, Tyler.
At first. Yeah. I'm good with it, man. If it actually happens, I'll believe it.
It's going to happen. I have a license already.
Do you?
Yeah, because I bought a hunting license.
Yeah, that was a given, though.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're going to get away from the family.
Oh, well, I think I've got a wife and a brother-in-law that likes to do that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
So as long as it's decent weather, I think
they like it when it's like 20 degrees outside?
No, that's just me.
There's a good chance that could happen up there.
See, there's a Black Panther right there.
That is. And he is, he's hunting.
He is, dude.
He's hunting, man.
I've got a bunch of feral cats that roam my property that...
they help with the locust problem.
Yeah, that situation might be addressed one day, but I don't know how to do it for sure.
I think it'd be fun to just start trying to find ways to scare them real bad.
Like we did your potbelly.
Oh, yeah. Dude, we need to post that again. Yeah. That was fun.
Yep.
Anyway, cue into our social just to see what's going on. If you want to see the hype of what's happening, maybe get you can get your thumb on what the rut's doing, at the time that we're up there. And
hey, right now the rut around here is not happening, but it's close.
Yeah.
These little buckies that I saw 4 little buckies this morning on this hunt here, and they all were bumping the does and chasing the does.
Yeah.
So
the youngins are doing it.
Yeah, the youngins are doing it, and that's always like the kickoff, Yeah. And I think that this isn't scientific, but I think that activity kind of pushes the does into that mindset.
Okay.
I don't think biologically it does much, but like it just kind of changes the way people act, or not people, deer. We don't have people.
Or deer if they were people,
Yeah.
Human people, deer. So anyway, that's kind of what we got going on, and I guess anything else as far as. We got one more probably release of a Texas public land hunt that we did, which is, it was a good hunt, man, for us. So some pretty cool stuff happened as far as just seeing deer, and we had some does within range that Casey should have ripped, but
man,
it's okay. I understand why. We talked about it before that we ever had that chance, so we knew it was happening. It wasn't like you surprised me with that decision.
The decision to not shoot does is like that's a podcast in itself, because there's like a big strategy on when and how and what to do in that situation. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to talk about that sometime.
Yeah, that's a good idea, man. Well, in the meantime, we'd like to thank Exodus for helping us bring these podcasts to you with the Big Buck Breakdowns this year. And guys, remember, this is your element.
Live in it.
It's a rain.
Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls. I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like them. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.